Is Israel Adesanya making up excuses for his recent loss to Dricus Du Plessis, or is he telling the truth? That's for you guys to decide. We're going to take a look at what Israel Adesanya had to say on Twitter in response to something that Alex Pereira said. We're going to take a look at what a bunch of replies had to say to kind of get a gauge on how the MMA online community is feeling about this. And as always, guys, I would love to know what you think about this whole conversation down below afterwards. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Kyle. I am your guy with many YouTube channels. Let's start off with this post over from Israel Adesanya, replying to an original post from Alex Pereira because Pereira suspected Adesanya could have been injured due to his lack of low kicks. And you know what? I'll read this to you guys first. Maybe Adesanya had an injury. Now, I'll pause this because I don't know if it was coming through anyways. Maybe Adesanya had an injury. I don't know. You can see he cooked very little. That inside leg kick of Adesanya is very good. He didn't continue to do it. He's only throwing hands. Now, that made sense, but it also could have been because Dricus was crowding him so much. But then again, it wasn't always the case there. I'm actually not above the idea that Israel Adesanya was actually injured coming to the fight, but there's so many fighters that are injured, man. There's so many. I don't know how I feel about this. So Israel Adesanya posted this. It's weird how this guy knows me. It's like we spent hours studying each other's moves and fought multiple times or something. I mean that. And of course, this seems like Israel Adesanya being a little bit humble, which we made a video recently talking about it. You guys can check that out on the channel, talking about how Israel Adesanya can be fake humble after a win. His whole thing with Dricus Du Plessis was great. By the way, check out that video, like and subscribe if you haven't already, guys. Let's take a look at a bunch of replies to see what the MMA community had to say about this. Elon Rachmanov had this to say, and now the excuses start. Now, this is where I kind of really took it, because we know Israel Adesanya is a deeply, and I hate to use this word because it's so overused nowadays, especially in the online culture, is insecure. Israel Adesanya and John Jones, it's crazy to me how they can beat up so much of the entire population. Anybody, they could just destroy in a fight, but they reek of insecurity. Like Israel Adesanya is probably still being eaten alive that he lost over here. Now let's continue on over to another post, because I wanted to include this one because a lot of people kind of had this take towards it. There's a lot of excuses and there's a lot of this. It's giving Zuko and Aang vibes. I understand where that's coming from, to be honest with you, and it's mostly extending from, like, Pereira was the one to kind of reach out to Adesanya first. And it's not to say, like, there's anything wrong with Adesanya not reaching out to Pereira first, but it seems like Pereira actually wants to bury the hatchet. But then again, it's easy to do if you're 3-1 against a guy. We just talked about this with Dricus Du Plessis. Let's continue on to Gabriel Pha. It's so cool, even with all the trash talking, you guys actually admire and respect each other a lot. And I don't know how I was feeling about this with Israel Adesanya. He seemed more salty than anything, but hey, if he is willing to bury the hatchet now, and I know that he might only be doing so because he is a one-up on Alex Pereira right now, but I think it's kind of cool too. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of like, not obviously as big, but when Chael and Anderson kind of came together, I thought that was pretty cool. But anyways, let's continue on. You can see he has real respect for Izzy. I appreciate that. And yeah, Pereira does seem very, very genuine, but like I said, it's very easy to be genuine to somebody when you know that you have so many wins over them. Let's continue on to Justin the CTE Gaethje. There's always an excuse. Underweight versus Jan. Stop too early, hinting at Chadwick Boseman levels of problems behind the scenes versus Pereira. Unmotivated, too much activity versus Sean. Injured leg, foot versus DDP. It's the fight game. DDP was the better man on the night and got the finish. This is how I'm more so feeling about it, just like taking a look at the kind of dude we've seen Israel Adesanya be over the years. I'm more with this, but it would be nice to see, and it would be nice to believe that he actually does have respect for Pereira, but I think all of this is kind of more so of just an excuse in general. But anyways, I want to take a look at another post because Israel Adesanya just made another post, and it's a little bit difficult to say if this is what he's talking about because he just posted this and left it at it. He didn't reply to a tweet or anything like that. Facepalm, I just said he knows my style. Go touch some grass, please. And this is what I would imagine he's replying to, but of course, take that with a grain of salt. We don't know for sure if that's the case with Israel Adesanya, but there was a couple replies over to that. Anyways, Elon Rachmanov is back, said, you said this on a tweet talking about how Alex thinks he might have been injured. You know what you're doing, tweeting that. This is kind of where I'm at as well, you know? I just think that he's taking advantage of fans that... I don't want to say, like... I don't know, man. It's tough. He's taking advantage of fans that are just fans of Israel Adesanya no matter what and kind of would believe what he had to say. I just don't really buy what Israel Adesanya is doing, man. I just don't personally. But let's continue on to another tweet by Slip and Roll. I don't see a problem with what you said, but it's clear that Pereira wants to strengthen his communication with you, and your fans generally are supportive of this. Maybe actually do train with him, two of the best strikers of all time in the UFC. And this is something that I would actually like to see if these two actually came together and train, Could you imagine what they could learn off of each other? So you can see what's like the replies from all of the MMA community over here. You see there's a lot of people that are seeing that this is just excuses, and this isn't a lot of stuff that I also didn't include. There's a lot of people just saying, oh my god, you got beat up. There's a lot of people just posting him getting choked out, a lot of haters in general. There's a lot of people saying, hey, Izzy, you didn't look like yourself. And I'm kind of stuck sitting here. Did Izzy not look like himself because of the way Dricus was fighting? Dricus makes a lot of people fight like how they don't normally fight because he makes things so chaotic. It's always possible that he's injured. I think that two things can be true at once. I think he could have been injured, and I think he's also making excuses. Because Israel Adesanya, like I said, is a deeply insecure person, and I can't see him just taking a loss and going, you know what, the better man won that night. He was being oddly humble versus Dricus Du Plessis, and it was honestly very strange to see. If you want to hear more about that, and we bring up that entire conversation, man, then check out this video on screen right now. We would love to have you over there, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Take care.